Does anybody know where this is? Tristan gave you a hint earlier. Anybody can guess where this is? Connie's going to get really annoyed. How many long have I got now?
10 minutes.
Brilliant. Come on, you haven't got 10 minutes to answer. Does anybody, come on, give a guess. Be brave. No. Pardon? No. It's near the Cabinet Office. It's actually Revenue and Customs. Can you guess where in Revenue and Customs? It's 100 Parliament Street. It's the Performance Board for Bernadette Kenny, the Director General for the whole of personal tax for Revenue and Customs. She has a visual board in her office, so she can have a handle on the whole business on 3 walls. This is her policy deployment chart, so she knows what projects are going on and what she needs to focus on, deliberately blurred so you can't see. But you get the feel, it's my rubbish camera taking really. So you get a feel of actually bringing the business together. Very powerful that, isn't it? In terms of having that handle on your business. That's what visual management can do. Here's Court Services. It's only fair to show them. Their lean journey, they've done it by themselves. No consultants. They've created that internal expertise. There is a huge amount of latent capacity across public services now with this. Lots of knowledge, lots of understanding. That's one of their performance boards. There's 3 of them here. You'll see they're slightly different because they're letting people develop their own. But what's interesting is they've got these 3 sections: performance, people, skills, resource planning, and most importantly, continuous improvement, challenge in the future. In terms of the final set of tools, improvement. 5S. How many of you have heard of 5S? Most of you. The difference between your kitchen and, unless you're a sad IKEA person, your garage or your shed. Some of you might have those little drawers with 1/4 of an inch, and some people are nodding, I'm worried now. But, but it's the difference between the 2. The trouble is, what we often do is we go do the first 3 and we forget about the last 2. And it's about focusing on the first 3. Very quickly, I'm not going to tell you which organisation this is, but here's a desk. Brilliant example of the 5 S's. So tell me, I'm going to say case, because it could be any of the government departments then. So which case are they working on at the moment? All of them, probably. Probably were doing this one, might have been doing a bit of this one. What are these ones here? What are these? These are a bit too difficult, actually. Yeah, exactly. They're in that pending tray. And the thing is, they'll stay there until a customer rings up and starts shouting, and then it's great, because then they get put into a red folder, and they get expedited through, and that's the one they're probably working on. But look, it's pushed back all of these other cases, so then they become delayed. Now tell me, which case are they working on? That one, yeah? And the next one is there. I love the fact they still got the trays. Comforts. That's the team leader's buffer, so they are giving them out in terms of first in, first out. Finally, the last part of improvement is about doing ongoing problem solving, daily, challenging, what are the problems, how do we take it forward, and then structured problem solving. You saw that wall, that was an example of that wall. Lean is not just technical change, it's cultural change. It has to become part of the day-to-day working of the organisation. And hopefully some of those examples I've showed you show that. This is my house of lean for public services. This is emerged from all the work that I've done. So what I'm saying is what I've seen working is having training and development, in developing internal expertise, having a good steering group, project team driving this all the way through. These pillars are the tools that I've talked about. These are tools for engagement, establishment, and embedment. But the most important thing, and where lean in public services differs from private services, is the fact we need to create an understanding of these. Our context, our structure, and I won't go into the academic theory of this because of lack of time, means that we don't naturally think in terms of process, we think task. We think about the variable being the work, not the staff. So the work can wait and the staff work the time that suits them. Standing in front of senior police people, I said, you're not telling me you place the same number of police on beat on a Monday lunchtime than you do on a Friday evening. And they said, what's wrong with that? They love it. They get to work overtime at the weekend. But what happens is they fall in sick on a Monday and the paperwork doesn't get done. Level capacity planning, we call it. We've got to start shifting our capacity to start meeting the demand. Think back to that theme park that I talked about right at the start. We need to create that understanding around process, around capacity and demand, around communication. I forgot something that was important to say is that actually there was a direct relationship between the senior manager I interview on every site to what the frontline staff say about lean. I can guess what the staff were going to say about lean. And I love it when I go up to performance boards and I touch them and they say, why are you touching the performance board, Zoe? I say, I'm just checking the ink's still dry. It's about whether it really is part of their organisation. Senior management is critical. It's about culture. As Tristan said, it needs resource. It isn't that cheap and it does take time, but it will actually reap its rewards. You need good communication. I go into hospitals and I know there's been 4 or 5 different little rapid events or big rapid events going on, and I say, do you know what's going on in theatres? And they say no. Or I go into local authority and I say, you know, in benefits rep, they're doing some really good stuff. Do you know what's going on? No. It's about communication. It's also communicating to the customer and getting them part of the process. But really, the big thing is this readiness. It's developing that understanding, because that's what will get you to understand value and flow. So we stop doing waste, flow, value, and we start doing value, flow, and waste. So finally, what is lean in public services? A series of rapid improvement events does not lean make. It's bigger and bolder than that. We need to develop a mindset of process and customer. We need to move from task and policy to process and value. We need to understand demand rather than capacity. And we need to create stable processes. If I go into a supermarket, and we all go into a supermarket, this was the last inspiration of Taiichi Ono, one of the big things that inspired him about the supermarkets. Will we come out with the same basket of products? No. Were we all offered the same items? Yeah. That's your customization from a standard offering. Any of you bought a Dell computer online? Yeah? You get offered all the parts. How many items do you get offered per part for the screen, the hard drive, the keyboard? Do you know how many you get offered per item?
2 or 3.
Only 2 or 3. Yeah, do you feel you've got your customized product at the end? Yeah, you do. We believe in public service. Customizing means you have to offer them everything. Let's think about how we can customize from a standard offering. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. My challenge to you is change the mindset. Let's not think about how can we use lean. Start to think about how can lean change the way that we work. And if you really don't get this, you can ask me about this at the tea break. Thank you very much.